This is the Average to Savage podcast with Paul Guarino. Everyone and anyone, athletes, celebs, and much more.
What's up, everybody? I'm back for another episode of the Average Savage podcast. Our special guest today is Trevor Kieboom. Trevor, how's it going?
It's going, man. Getting ready for the season, so no complaints on my end.
Yeah, could you just give us a brief background about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So out of high school, I committed and signed with Clemson University. Was there for 2 years. Didn't really get a chance to play as I was coming off of one shoulder surgery. And first fall there, I had another shoulder surgery, so that was my second. Kind of went into the spring, trying to get back at it to get healthy for the season. Ended up having a third surgery after going off to summer ball. Realized that my dreams playing at Clemson weren't going to happen, so went to Chattanooga Valley Community College in Phoenix City, Alabama. Stayed healthy for the whole year, which was kind of my goal. I knew if I was healthy that the talent and the numbers would kind of come out and speak for themselves. So I was fortunate enough to go to the JUCO World Series there and played on a really good team for a really good guy, Coach Thomas, and then ended up playing at the University of Georgia for 2 years. So don't think I would have thought that I was going to be a Bulldog after going to Clemson, but couldn't have been happier and enjoyed my 2 years at Georgia probably more than anywhere.
How did you get started playing baseball?
I think it's just one of those things where when you grow up, and your father played and your older brother's playing, that even though you try other sports, you're around the baseball field more than any other field or any other court or whatever it may be. And it just was one of those things where baseball was king in our family and kind of trickled down to my younger brother as well. So it was just kind of easy for all of us since we were at the field all the time that baseball was a sport that we chose. Yeah,
for sure. And what was the recruiting process like out of high school? And obviously I know your brother was already at Clemson.
Yeah, so it's a lot different now than I think it was then. When I graduated high school in 2011, it was very common for guys to start really looking at schools, your junior year, and then commit your junior summer going into your senior year. And now I think if you don't have an offer of the school you want by your sophomore year, kids start panicking. But it was pretty quiet. You got the phone calls from the schools that were interested, and I think it was July 3rd or 4th was the date they could first contact you. So you kind of just sat around, you played, and you waited for that day to come. And the phone rang, and you started to put together your visits. And I went on visits to schools like Tennessee and Auburn and Georgia Tech and Clemson and a couple other schools, and just really started to narrow it down from the beginning. And I knew a lot about Clemson just because my older brother was there. So I was around those guys and that coaching staff a lot. And the more schools I visited, the more I realized that was just an easy place and a place that I felt most comfortable to play baseball and get a degree. And it was kind of the right size. I think at the time that I went there, it was 18,000 students, and it was a really good academic school. The baseball program didn't really play second fiddle to anybody at the time, so it mattered. And that's what I was looking for, so it was a pretty easy decision.
Yeah, for sure. And I know you mentioned before you were injured a lot and then you transferred. So what was the transferring process like? And did you have to sit out a year when you went to Georgia because of the rules?
I didn't. So transferring from Clemson to Chattanooga Valley was probably one of the toughest decisions I made. Just going from one, it was a decision if I wanted to play baseball, I had to make it. It just wasn't an opportunity to play at Clemson with all the injuries and rehab and whatnot. And at a program like that, they got to win all the time. So if you're not healthy and you can't contribute, you're kind of on your way out. But the decision to leave, a school and a program like that to go to junior college is not one that I think any athlete in that position really ever thinks about they're going to have to do, because we all sign a letter of intent thinking we're going to go there, we're going to play 3 years, get drafted, and go do our thing in pro ball. But it ended up being one of the best decisions I made. Coach Thomas down there was one of the best you could be around. I don't think that there's another guy that could do what he did for us in junior college, mainly because I think junior college is a place where guys are going either out of high school because they're not fully developed yet, and they don't have the opportunities at the bigger schools, or maybe someone messed up, you got in trouble in high school, or you got in trouble at another school. It's a second chance for some. It's a first chance, or kind of an extension of the first chance for a lot of others, just kind of develop. And for me, I didn't get in trouble. I was good enough to go play at Clemson out of high school. It was just one of those, situations where I needed to play every day. Coach Thomas gave me that opportunity. We played on a beautiful field. Phoenix City in itself is probably another story. There's not much there, but we lived in a nice place, and, we ended up being number one in the country for most of the year and going to the World Series. And then, going to Georgia kind of came about because my older brother told me to look there. And the schools that recruited me out of junior college was a little bit different than out of high school, because I think as a college, when you're recruiting out of junior college, you're recruiting for needs, not just for talent. Out of high school, they just go recruit the best players. Yeah. And out of junior college, it's, okay, hey, what guy do we need to come play right away? So maybe someone's going to get drafted at that school, or they got hurt, or they have a gap in the recruiting class. So, I got recruited all over the map, from, Kansas State to Oklahoma State to Auburn, just a little bit everywhere. And I didn't really want to go out west and play. With all the surgeries I'd actually even considered just not playing. So my older brother told me to look at University of Georgia just as a school. Just go there and be a student, enjoy Athens, and you've always played your whole life. Go enjoy being a normal person. So we met with Coach Strickland. We knew some people up at the university who kind of set that up. And what I wanted to get out of that meeting was just be a student assistant. I didn't want to have to do the laundry and that stuff like most managers. I just want to hit fungos, get around the game, learn the game at that level, learn under Coach Strickland. And at the end of the meeting, Coach Strickland was kind of like, why don't you just come play? We don't have the scholarship money for you, and we thought to get you here was going to take some scholarship money. But if you're willing to come here as a student, then we want you on the team. So it's more so a preferred walk-on, except for the fact that I was going to get the opportunity to play every day, and I ended up playing every day. So. And
how many surgeries did you have? Just curious.
So before Georgia, I had 4. And then after my first year at Georgia, I had 2 more. I had one on my wrist and one on my left shoulder that I hurt second week in the season. So not ideal, but it is what it is, and everyone goes through their bumps and bruises. I just probably had a little bit more than most.
Yeah, how did you overcome all those? Like, what made you motivated to keep on playing baseball?
So I always think about that, and I think, one, the people around me probably made it the easiest. My mom, my dad, my younger brothers, mature beyond his years. My older brother was as supportive as anyone I could have asked for. And then my friends, the rest of my family. And I think I was around the right coaches, too. I think, my trainer at Clemson, Travis Johnston, was as good to me as I could have asked for. Coach Thomas down at Chat Valley, and, my summer ball coach, and James Beavers at 18 was really supportive. And then when I got to Georgia, my relationship with Coach Strickland off the field on the personal side was as good as anyone. And I think that helped me a ton. He was as good to me as any man I could have asked for, as far as how he treated me as a human being, which I don't think you get that a lot at these schools when coaches look at players and say, you got to win, or, my job relies on 18 to 22-year-olds winning games. Yeah. And when you have a guy like Coach Strickland who looked at me as a human being, off the field, and realized that I was going through a lot, that helped a lot. And then my trainer there, both in the weight room and out of the weight room, Brian Gearhart and Sean Boland, probably prolonged my career longer than it ever should have been. And then obviously our other coaches and Coach Daly were, really good to me on the field. That helped a lot, and kind of knew I was special, not in a special talent type of way, but special in a way that, hey, I can't go out there and throw 100 balls across the infield every day, or I can't take 300 swings every day because my body just can't handle it. So, the combination of my trainers on and off the field, and the coaches and my family, just it made it easier to realize that, to realize the 12-year-old self in me that, listen, I play this game because I love it. I realize I'm not going to get a chance to play at the next level because someone's going to look at my medicals and be like, our insurance probably isn't going to cover you. So it's one of those things where I think I surrounded myself with good enough people that made the game enjoyable and made the game fun.
And I know you touched on it, but what was your experience like, your overall experience at Georgia playing and being in school?
It was the greatest. It's the greatest college town, in my opinion, around. And I've been to a lot of places. I've been to a lot of football games. Yeah. At a lot of places. I've been to a lot of, I've been on a lot of campuses. I just think the energy at the University of Georgia, it's that perfect size of, students to faculty to athletics to nightlife to food to whatever you want to, bring up that matters in college. I think Georgia had it all. I think when you're playing in the SEC, you get to play good teams every single weekend. When you're playing midweeks, teams want to beat you. When you travel nice. The gear you get is nice. The way you're treated as an athlete in the weight room, outside the weight room, nutritionally is nice. And people look at you on campus like you matter. And I think as an athlete, the combination of social life and athletics and education, and people that care about you in every aspect, it's pretty tough to beat. And I think that was, at Georgia, was the perfect combination. And unfortunately, we didn't win as many games as they're winning now, but I think they finally got it going in the right direction where we're able to put all those combinations together.
Yeah, sounds like it was awesome. And so you make the transition now from baseball player to baseball agent. So what was that like, and how did that all come about?
Yeah, so after my first year at Georgia, I thought I was going to be, I should say, after my first fall, I had a lot of interest from a lot of teams, and I was draft eligible, and I played really well. And I looked into hiring an advisor and started working with the guy. Obviously, as a college player, you can't have an agent, but you can have an advisor where they can give you advice. You just can't negotiate on your behalf. But I was excited about playing professional baseball after my first year at Georgia. And then second week of the season, I take a swing and feel, a little bit of a crunch in my left hand, and go to the doctor, and they tell me I got a bit of an injury. It's probably going to need surgery at the end of the year. And a week later, I take a swing and feel my left shoulder come out, and go see a doctor, and he's like, "Hey, you're going to need your labrum fixed in your left shoulder." And I've already had my right one fixed 3 times, so I knew the recovery wasn't a 3 or 4 month recovery. We're looking at 8, 9, 10, 11 months. I started to kind of think of, baseball's probably not going to work out. I have a hard enough time playing 56 games, let alone getting in the minor leagues and getting over the 100-plus mark. So I started to kind of think, what I wanted to do by staying in the game. But I was also in, the business school at the University of Georgia. So how do I use, all this money my parents are spending on my education, and the fact that I'm in such a great business school, to put that to use? And the combination of my knowledge in baseball, my relationships in baseball, plus my interest in the business side of things, kind of just worked itself out, and it was a perfect storm. And I started working with a guy named Guarino at the time, who I currently still work with, and he's kind of been my mentor, and he's been perfect for me in the fact that he lets me do my own thing. And when he questions me, he doesn't question my intentions. He wants me to think, and he always wants me to learn. So he's done a very good job in challenging me, like I said, in a positive way, where I'm always trying to learn. And he never questions any, moves I make. It's just, hey, I want to know why you're doing it. This is why I'm doing this. And we kind of work with each other really well to learn and keep building this business.
Yeah, for sure. And what's a process like scouting a player, and then like scouting him to like talking to him, and then like actually signing him?
Right. So it's a little more difficult, I think, scouting a player than I originally imagined, because I had such an inside access to so many players that when people ask me about players, I was like, well, I really like them for this, and this, because I knew them so well on a personal side. You kind of see in their head a little bit. But I think on this side of the wall, it's a little tough, because you don't know what's going on in a player's mind, right? So, you can look at their social media, you can talk to them, you can do whatever you want, and you just never really know until you spend hours on hours on hours and days on end with them what's going on. And you don't know if religion's what drives him. Is it his family? Does he play the game because he's good? Does he play the game because he loves it? Does he play the game because he sees a paycheck at the end of the tunnel? So the hardest part for me is finding out what's going on inside of an athlete's mind. Because I think it's easy to show up to a field and see, okay, well, that kid's good, or that kid has a chance, or I really like his swing, whatever it may be. But I think what really separates a lot of these professional athletes is their ability to handle success as well as handle failure. And until you know what's going on in a player's mind, success or failure is handled differently by every athlete. And good, bad, and different. Some guys don't know how to handle success. Some guys don't know how to handle failure, and vice versa. So, once I figure that out, then I think I'll be pretty good at this whole being an agent thing. But that's been the toughest part for me is really figuring out what pushes some of these players.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'd say that's probably the hardest part.
It's not easy, but we're getting there. And the better relationships I have with these guys, and the more players that we have, there's turnover every year, but you add a couple, and you lose a couple with retiring and injuries and whatnot. You start to use those guys, and those guys realize they're in a locker room with other players that have agents, and they hear all the complaints, the good, bad, and indifferent. And I like to think that a lot of them come back like, hey, man, you do a really good job, and they want to help us. And, when you have guys that you work for them, yet they want to help you and work for you a little bit and, kind of give back, it helps because it gives you a little bit more of an inside look into players.
Yeah, definitely. And now I know it's February, and it sounds weird, but it's baseball season now for college scouting, right?
Yeah, it's kind of always baseball season for us as far as scouting, because the cycle never ends with high school and summer ball and professional ball and college, whatever it may be. Those guys are playing all the time, so the cycles more go for us. It's you're watching and scouting, and then you're recruiting, and some periods may be a little bit more heavy with communication with teams, whereas some may be a little bit more heavy with recruiting of players. But in any situation, you're always watching, you're always listening, and you're always looking for a guy that fits you. And not every guy fits us, and we don't fit every guy. I think our brand is a little bit different than most. We're not out to sign 15, 20 guys per draft and hope that 2 or 3 of them work out. We're hoping to get 4 or 5 guys for a draft that fit us, maybe even less than that, and then hopefully those guys work out. We're really investing back in our players to hope that all of them work out. And that's not going to be the case, but we like to think that if we're casting a little bit, a net on a more educated group of guys, and a little bit smaller group of guys, and by educated I don't mean the actual players themselves being educated, but just educated in our recruiting process, that we're going to have a higher percentage of players work out. I know baseball's a game of failure, but I like to think that with the information we have on guys and the relationships we have, that if we get 3 or 4 guys, we can hopefully get 3 or 4 guys to work out. Yeah,
definitely. Now, are you scouting more college players or more high school players, or both?
Yeah, I think every season's going to be different. Just kind of depends on that cycle. And I live in Georgia myself, so I have no problem going to the surrounding states to recruit younger guys. But if I don't feel like the class is that strong in the state of Georgia or the state of South Carolina or Tennessee or Alabama, whatever it may be, we go to college guys that year, or maybe we work on a couple pro guys that are unhappy with their current representation and see if maybe we're fit for them. So every season's different, every month is different. It just kind of depends on the talent that year.
And now you're in a unique position since you're your brother's agents, right?
Yeah, so I work with Keith, the guy I work with, Keith Grunwald, was representing my older brother, Spencer, when he was drafted out of Clemson, and then started working with Carter. He was 17, and then I just kind of came in, and it was a seamless transition, obviously, with them being family, and Keith already working with them, and I started working for Keith. I let Keith do some of the heavy lifting with those guys, because I know Spencer and Carter really trust and respect him, and he's been doing this for 20 years and represented Hall of Famers and first-round picks, Silver Sluggers, whatever it may be. Kind of that perfect combination for us where I call him the old man, but old and young, where I got a very personal relationship with a lot of guys, and the guys respect him. They also have a very good relationship with him, but respect him in the fact that he's worked in this industry for 20 years and seen everything. So there's not a thing that one of our players can come across that he or myself hasn't experienced. So it's kind of a perfect combination for us.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I think it's also unique, and just to have that whole family concept. And then, like, I see you were working out with them and stuff like that, and even just having 3 brothers that were D1, right?
Yeah, I mean, Carter was committed to Clemson, obviously, but not. He didn't go there. He was taken. It was a 28th pick and out of high school. But working with them, it's a blast. I wouldn't even say it has trials or tribulations. It's always fun. We're always learning. They're both very educated in the game of baseball and what the Players Association is doing. So I think they ask all the right questions. But I think working with family or for family, people always say that can never work, right? Never work with family. But we've had a blast doing it. I think they respect what I do. They know I work extremely hard for them, and I know what they do on a day in, day out basis. And I always tell people, like, listen, you can work for family without being related, right? Blood makes you related, but loyalty makes you family. So I like to think that there's a lot of guys I work with that I basically consider family. The conversations we have and the experiences we have together, there's stuff that you share with family. So my brothers have made it very, very easy for me to work for them, and I enjoy it every day. Yeah,
that's awesome. And what are your goals for 2019?
29. I'd like to see some of our guys make a jump. Yeah. I think we have a couple younger guys who are kind of high prospects, who were paid some money out of the draft, who have a chance to really make a name for themselves, and I think really jump and by jump, I don't necessarily mean levels, from A-ball to the big leagues or AA to the big leagues, but I think just kind of grow as a player and really learn. And instead of constantly tinkering with stuff and working with stuff, really just hone in on what they're doing and believe in what they're doing. And I think they'll see themselves make that step. And, for us as a group, I think if, we got a couple guys in this draft who I think have a chance to go pretty high. And for us, just continue to establish, our name and our business. And, what we do is we're doing it the right way. And I think we have the right players for us that believe in what we're doing. And, for me, just want to continue to grow in the right areas. Not grow by numbers, but grow by, grow organically, grow within, our guys that we have, just keep getting better. So for me, I just like to continue to see growth. There's not really a number of guys I'd like to see make the big leagues or stay in the big leagues or whatever it may be. Just continue to grow and get better.
Yeah, for sure. You ready for some fun questions?
Let's go.
All right. So what's one thing that people might not know about you?
Man, I think most of my friends probably know everything about me, but I have dual citizenship with the Netherlands. I think that's the one thing that nobody really knows, and it always surprises people that our family, my dad grew up in Europe and moved over to the United States when, as a little bit older teenager, but our family is dual citizenship with the Netherlands, and my brothers can play with the Dutch for the World Baseball Classic, so I think that's always a cool thing that people don't necessarily know.
Yeah, that is cool. I think, what's the next World Baseball Classic next year, 2020?
Yeah, well, it's going into the Olympics, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with the World Baseball Classic and the Olympics, what these countries decide to do. And I know if you're in the U.S., it's pretty easy to send the best college players over there, and you probably have a pretty good chance to compete. But I know that a lot of these countries, it's an extreme honor, and it's an extreme honor for the guys in the U.S. to play for the national team. But it'll be interesting to see what Major League Baseball does, and the leagues in Japan and Korea and what they do with their players, because obviously there's a lot of pride in playing for the U.S. or the DR or Puerto Rico, Japan, etc. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, but I know that whatever does happen, I can imagine Spencer and Carter will both get a phone call from the Kingdom of the Netherlands to see what's going on. Yeah,
for sure. They were stacked last Baseball Classic too.
Yeah, the last couple. They've been really good, and obviously they have Curacao is part of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. So Andrelton Simmons and Jurgen Profar, and you have all these guys that can flat out play.
Yeah, definitely. How often do you go there?
Yeah, we don't go over a ton. Unfortunately, our grandma, my dad's mom, isn't doing tremendous, but we love her very much. And my older brother and I got a chance to go over there in November and see her and kind of walk around and see my dad's sister. And Carter got a chance to go over in January with my dad, and we hope that we get to do it all again this offseason. So we hope she gets better, and we get to do that. But we've been over there a couple times, but it's not exactly something that we have a ton of time for to knock out a week or two over there.
Yeah, for sure. And how about this? Can you give me your top 5 favorite baseball players of all time?
Top 5 favorite baseball players of all time? Well, I think I'd be remiss, or I would probably catch some flack if I didn't say Spencer and Carter are up there. but growing up, we'll put Spencer and Carter at 1 and 2. You can put them whatever order you want to.
I'm not
going to designate one as 1 and 1 as 2. But growing up, I really loved watching Nomar. Nomar Garciaparra was always my guy that I watched and always tried to emulate when I played. And I wore number 5, and I loved the batting glove thing and his little pre-at-bat ritual. And as I got older, I really started to understand, how difficult this game was. I think Derek Jeter was a guy that I started to really respect with how he handled New York, especially once I got into this industry. I realized how difficult it is on these athletes, and to see what Derek Jeter did and has done and continues to do on and off the field is as impressive as it gets for me. Those are really the two guys. Ken Griffey Jr. I absolutely loved. I always played this video game on N64. I think it was Ken Griffey Jr. baseball, 1998 or something like that. But Ken Griffey just kind of always had that swag and something that drew you to him. Had that smile, that sweet stroke. Played the game the right way. But after that, that's it. I got those guys and the clients I work with. I love watching day in and day out, and the fact that I know some of these guys so well, you start to really pull for them, not only, because you're attached to them in a business, but you know how much they put in. On the personal side, we got a couple guys like Alex Spees and Richard Lovelady. I can go on and on and on about guys that I work with that I've seen them make so many jumps, and I get excited watching those guys, and so those guys should be in the big leagues pretty soon. So I'll add, the rest of our clients at Vanguard can round out the top whatever.
All right, I'll take it. I like that plug. And what about if you had to choose one food to eat for the rest of your life every day, what would it be?
If I get to pick the quality of this food, it's going to be a steak. I could eat a good steak, for every meal. And you can mix it up, right? You can go ribeye and strip and filet and wagyu and whatever you want. So we'll go with steak as the generic, but a lot of my friends will probably tell you that I could eat buffalo chicken pizza from Mellow Mushroom for every meal. That seals it for me. And I don't know if you've ever been out to Mastro's Steakhouse out in Arizona or California. I think they got one in Florida as well. But they got a butter cake that is one of the most incredible things you could ever put in your mouth. It's pretty good.
Yeah, going back to the buffalo chicken pizza, so I was having a debate with my friends. Do you get it with red sauce on it or just plain? Like just with the cheese and the butter?
I don't think I saw that when you put that up, but I don't think Mellow Mushroom puts a sauce on it. I think they do the buffalo and ranch swirls on it, and that is their sauce.
Gotcha.
I don't think I would like it with red sauce, to be honest. The cheese, the crust, and the buffalo swirl with the ranch or blue cheese swirl, whatever you prefer. But have you ever had Mellow Mushroom? So their pizza they do like with onions and bacon and chicken, obviously buffalo ranch, and it's pretty good, pretty tough to beat.
Well, when you come up around here near Connecticut, you have to try. We got some of the best pizzas in the world.
I'm a big fan of Dave Portnoy and what he's doing with the one bite. Everybody knows the rules. So there's a lot of places up when I go up to the Northeast. I'm gonna have to try and just download that app and go around and see if the scores he's giving are really accurate.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, I appreciate you coming on, and could you let the people know where they could follow you on social media? Yeah,
so I'm pretty sure I'm just Trevor Kieboom, straight up on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm not sure there is many Trevor Kiebooms out there. I think our last name is pretty unique, so if you search Kieboom, you'll find one of us. If you find one of us, you'll find all three of us, so it's pretty easy to find.
All right, appreciate you coming on.
Thanks, brother.